retirement. What age do you think is the right time for people to plan for retirement? Is it before they're 25, maybe 25 to 35, 35 to 45, 45 and above, or you're not sure? What age do you think people should start planning for retirement? Please drop it in the chat box. Let us know what you think about retirement planning. Do you plan from when you get your first job, you should start planning to retire, or you should work a few years and then maybe when you're a decade in, you can start planning for retirement? What does that look like? What does that look like? What are your answers? Please share with us, share with us, share with us in the comments. From the first job, interesting. That's a very interesting perspective. Thank you very much for sharing that. Somebody says that you should do your you should start planning for your retirement once you get your first job. In fact, from your first salary, wow, that's awesome. Awesome. As soon as money starts entering your account as a worker, you should start planning for retirement. Okay. Another person says you should start planning for retirement as soon as you start earning money, either via business or salary. That's really awesome. I like where our heads are at today. Me personally, I would confess that on my first job, when I had the option to opt in or opt out for a pension plan, I opted out because in my head, I was calculating the money. If this money goes out this month, and next month and onwards, this money that I could use towards something now. But of course, I've learned better that you should plan as soon as you start working. So thank you everyone for sharing. Our Since we are all, or well, most of us are aligned on the best time to plan for retirement, I will drop another question in the chat and then you can tell me what your own answer is. Which of these best describes your retirement plan today? Which of these best describes your retirement plan today? Do you have a plan? Is your plan still under construction? Are you just trusting God or you don't want to talk about it? For those who have already started planning, which of these options best describes your retirement plan today? Whilst people are dropping answers in the chat, I would request that our guest, Mr. Ishola, if you could please rename yourself just so we can be sure that you're on the call and our IT team will give you all the access that you need. So, Mr. Ishola, please kindly rename yourself. There's an issue with the Zoom. So, if you're joining with a different link, you need to rename yourself. Please kindly type out your name so that we can be sure that you're here. Okay, I'm already seeing responses in the chat. Emmanuel Wede says he has a plan. I love that. It's always good to go through life with a plan. Mercy says it is under construction. Awesome. The good news is that, okay, Olanloko Darmola as well says it is under construction. That's awesome. The good news is that if you're on this webinar, no matter the state of your retirement plans, you're going to learn something that you can use to, make things better. So whether you already have a plan or you're just, under construction, or maybe you didn't want to talk about it, some people didn't even respond because maybe they are thinking, oh my God, where do I start from? No matter what, we are very delighted to have you here. So welcome once again, everybody, to our amazing session today. Our guest is already on the call. He's ready to go. Um, I'll just run us through some things before we go in. Please be aware that this session is being recorded. So just for your awareness. And whilst you're on the call, we would encourage you to keep your microphones muted so that it can be as smooth as possible. If you need to ask any questions, you can just type it in the chat as your questions come. You don't really need to wait until the end. We are taking note of them. The Jan team is on the call to note all your questions. And at the end of the session, we'll be able to take every question that you have. Okay, so once again, you are warmly welcome to this webinar. The IT team has something to share with us, but actually, I'll just give it one more minute and then we'll jump right into the session, okay? Let me confirm that someone from the finance team is on the call. I can see my colleague Miriam Suleiman. Thank you for being here. As well as everyone else. You are very welcome. We are delighted to have you here. Okay, all right. So I'll let the IT team have the floor now for a few minutes. So we'll start the session officially after the IT team. Okay.
You can earn, save, spend, and donate. This moves our money round at a supersonic rate. Yeah, we want to earn, save, spend, and donate. Open up a world of possibility.
Every child deserves a strong start, not just in the classroom, but in life. JA Nigeria's Chaching is a financial literacy program designed for primary school pupils, helping them understand money in simple, practical ways. Through engaging lessons and fun videos, children learn how to earn, save, spend, and donate, skills they can use every day.
The Chaching program has reached over 2,700 students, or pupils rather, in Lagos State only, and more than 90 schools as well in Lagos State. We have interacted with, of course, over 90 teachers as well who have actively participated in the Chaching program.
My involvement in teaching of Chaching is on supervisory level. I was supervising to ensure that everything goes well, and it actually went well.
The first thing we usually do is to ensure that we recruit the schools. So we reach out to public schools through the SUDEB. We get approval from the SUDEB. Once we get approval from the SUDEB, then we can reach out to the local government areas of those schools. Then after reaching out to the local government areas, we get another level of approval, so to speak. After that, we reach out to the school headmistress or headmaster, the head of school essentially. And then from there, we are assigned teachers who will be working with us for the program. It's also similar to the private schools, but in this case, we reach out to the head of school. The head of school then assigns us teachers that will be working with us for the Chaching program. Then after that, we bring the teachers together, the teachers from the government schools and the teachers from the private schools, and we have an orientation session. It's like a mini training session for them to help them navigate the curriculum of the Chaching program.
When I heard about Chaching, my first impression, I was so happy because I've not heard Chaching before until I joined this school. When my school owner introduced and the way the learners embraced it, I was even so happy myself. And when I saw the curriculum, it's like, wow, that our future generation, they don't need to depend on their parents. You understand? They've started building their future now. So I myself, I was so happy, even with the learning.
By starting early, Chaching builds confidence, critical thinking, and smart decision making from a young age.
All right, thank you, everyone. So the video we saw earlier was talking about one of our other financial literacy programs, because at Junior Achievements Nigeria, we're very passionate about educating this generation and the next. Before we go on, we have the marketing and communications manager on the call, and she'll be giving us an opening speech to set the ball rolling, and then we'll be able to dive in with Mr. Ireti Ishola. So I saw her now, but it looks like she has disappeared for a moment. So please give me one moment whilst I check that in so that we can have our speaker. He's ready, he's been ready, and we are so excited to have you. We can't thank you enough, sir. Thank you for being here. Let me see if any of my other colleagues is on the call. Is Adobe on the call? Ada Okoye, representing the management team. She on the call. Okay. Yes, so we have Adobe Okoye on the call. Please, Ma, if you could kindly give a welcome speech to our guest, Mr. Ishola, as well as every participant on this call, and then we can dive right into today's session. Thank you. Good evening. I'm seeing more people in the chat. Thank you very much. You're very welcome. We're delighted to have you here. Is Adobe able to speak?
Angela, apologies. I think the network broke. Well, what did you say?
Oh, sorry. Thank you for being here. Yes, I was saying we have you here on behalf of management. So welcome our speaker as well as all the guests on the call.
Okay. All right. Just give me a minute. Good afternoon, everyone. Please confirm that you can hear me.
Yes, we can. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the personal pension plan in collaboration with Access ARM. Just like Angela said, I think we have more people still joining. So we'll just give them. How many minutes do we have to give people, Angela, before we can kickstart?
Can give them 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay. All right. Okay. So we'll just give 3 minutes and then we'll start. So I'd like to welcome everyone that has joined. Thank you all for joining. We're looking forward to an insightful session. We have Mr. Ireti Ishola from Access ARM, who will be taking us through today's session, and we believe it's going to be insightful. So I'd like to just encourage every one of us to get our notepads, just ensure that we're fixated so that we can learn. And then if you have questions, pension is a very big deal. So if you have questions, please put them in the chat box. And at the end of the session, I believe that with the way Angela will run the session, there'll be a time for question and answer. There'll be a time when you can maybe raise up your hand to unmute yourself to speak and ask all of your questions. But in all, I want to welcome everyone. Thank you all for joining. And we'll be starting shortly. We just want to ensure that we have a bit of a full house before we commence. All right. So yeah, thank you, Angela. Thank you for having me. Welcome, everyone. Yes.
Thank you so very much, Adobe. That is Adobe Okoye, the head of People, Performance and Culture and Junior Achievements Nigeria. And she has warmly welcomed us all to this session. Whilst we wait a few minutes, I will share Mr. Ireti Ishola's bio with us, just so we can know, the person, the astute resource that we have on this call. Mr. Ishola is the head of strategy at Access ARM Pensions, where he leads strategic planning and stakeholder engagement initiatives. He has a background in investment administration and pension fund management, and he brings extensive experience in long-term financial planning, corporate strategy, and pension administration. So let us give a round of applause to our speaker, Mr. Ishola, in the comments. I want to see all the reactions. This is a very seasoned professional, and he's bringing his wealth of experience to us. We are such a lucky community, so awesome that we get to enjoy resources like this from time to time. We're very delighted to have you, sir. All right, so without further ado, I will let Mr. Ishola take the floor so that we can go right in. I know that people are burning with, inquisitiveness. People have a lot of questions. Many people from, the icebreaker that we did earlier are sure that you should be talking about retirement and pension planning from early on. But when asked, do you have a plan? Everybody was like, they don't have a plan. So we really obviously need this session. And so I'll let you take the floor, Mr. Ishola. Please go on and unmute yourself. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, Angela, and thank you, Hada. Hope you would excuse me. We are used to, I prefer if you call me Ireti. That Mr. makes me repeat or
No
okay.
problem, no problem. Thank you very
I'm so happy. And for us at Access ARM Pensions, we are so delighted to be part of this. One of the things we take delight in is empowering our communities and helping to shape people's future. So what you are doing today aligns with our vision, and we are happy to do it many times. Thank you. So let me know when you can see my screen. Please let me know when you can see my screen. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can. Yes.
much. Yes.
Okay. Thank you once again. Angela had said that I work with Access Hearing Pensions. That is true. And I our vision at Access Hearing Pensions is to be the world's most respected African pension fund administrator. We we'll be talking about the personal pension plan today. And before we start looking at the slides, I would just like to tell us a story. Prior to 2004, we had a system in place in Nigeria where a lot of people retired and they lived in abject poverty. Getting their pensions after they had worked for several years was a prayer point. It was a very difficult situation. For you to receive your pension payment, you had to fast and pray. In some cases, you had to depend on the benevolence of the people around you in order for you to exist. And so in 2004, the government at that particular point in time, the government of President Olusegun Obasanjo looked at the entire pension scheme in Nigeria, and they looked at the challenges that had bedeviled that pension industry scheme. My dad retired as a permanent secretary, and I remember that he also had those challenges at some point. We had a situation whereby people had worked all their lives, and when it was time for them to live well, to enjoy the fruit of their labor, they had nothing to fall back on. In some cases, when they had something to fall back on, like my dad, like I told you, you had a situation whereby he had to wait because a lot of times when there were challenges in terms of budget implementation, when there was challenges in terms of budget shortfall, pension pension payment is usually one of those items that was not the priority of successive governments. And so the government at that particular point felt it was important for them to reform the scheme and to come up with an arrangement that can make sure that the pension system in Nigeria is sustainable. That was the essence of the Pension Reform Act of 2004 that was passed. That act was also amended in 2014, and a lot of work was also done on it in 2026, 2024. And so if you fast forward in 2006, some PFAs were licensed. Access Hearing Pensions too is a pension fund administrator. They were licensed to manage people's fund. 20 years after, as we speak, we manage about 30 trillion in assets, and we have close to 11.2 million contributors as we speak today. That is the history of the pension scheme. 11.2 million seems to be a big figure. 30 trillion seems to be a big figure. But if you compare it to the potentials that Nigeria has, if you just oppose that figure with the population that Nigeria has, you will know that the coverage is very insignificant. And there's clearly room for other people to join. And that is the whole essence of the personal pension plan. Before now, it was called the micro pension plan, but now it has been redesigned and called the personal pension plan. And the story I told you about what happened prior to 2004 was that there was a situation whereby the pension scheme was not sustainable, and government came up with a reform whose sole objective or whose major objective was to ensure that people who worked in private or public sector retire with dignity. They were committed to ensuring that they retired and they had access to their benefits as at when due. So the personal pension plan is an arrangement by PenCom to expand pension coverage to ensure that more people within the Nigeria economy have access to personal pension plan, to a personal pension. Like some of us said during the icebreaker, a lot of people feel that pension is not for them right now. They feel that they only need pension when they are approaching retirement, or when they are 50, or when they know that maybe they will be retiring in the next 2 years. But that is an approach that needs to be changed. Pension is for everyone. And kudos to our regulator who looked at the micro pension plan. And the micro pension plan was meant to capture the informal sector to ensure that that number that I mentioned to you earlier on, the 11 million plus contributors, increase significantly to capture other people who are not in formal establishments. Right now, if you were working in an organization with 3 employees and above, the law says that you must have a pension identification number. You must have an RSA pin. But we discovered that there are some organizations with less than 3 employees. And so micro pension came into place to address those people who were working with smaller employers, who were working with micro enterprises, so that they can also ensure that they set certain things apart. And the PPP has also been expanded in such a way that an important segment, and I know that it will interest you, that an important demographic has been added to the personal pension plan. I'll be explaining that in my next slide. So coverage of the personal pension plan. Right now, the personal pension plan is for everyone. Anytime I am opportune to speak to this, I always say that I do not know of anybody that cannot do any personal pension plan. So if you ask me, if your question on this call is, am I eligible to participate in the personal pension plan? My answer to you is yes. And what if you are still a child? What if you are still living with your parents? Are you eligible? Yes. The personal pension plan guideline has opened the window for everyone to participate in pension plan. And let me tell you something about pensions. Yes, we call it pensions, and it appears to be something that it is for the future. Yes, it is for the future, and the best time to plan for the future is today. Some great people have said that, some great financial planners have said that the best time to plan for tomorrow is yesterday, but the best next time to plan for tomorrow is today. And so the personal pension plan is a plan that allows children, self-employed individuals, employees of organizations with fewer than three staff, and also current employees. So if you are on this call and you already have a retirement savings account, maybe you are already working with a formal organization, a large organization that has enrolled you for pensions, which we normally call the CPS, can you still participate in the personal pension plan? The answer is yes, because the personal pension plan is for everyone. There is a caveat for people who already have a personal identification number. You do not need to create another personal pension. You do not need to create another PIN. What you need to do is to remit into that account that you have, and you are already part of the personal pension plan. Features of the personal pension plan. There are a few features that make the personal pension plan different from a CPS, which we call the contributory pension scheme, which we are all familiar with. A lot of times when you interact with self-employed people, when you interact with young people, they think that pension is not for them, but we say to you today that pension is for everybody. One of the features of the personal pension plan is the fact that it is voluntary, and the contributions are also flexible. There is no compulsion there as to the amount, as to when you can contribute. You can contribute anytime you like, and you can contribute any amount that you like at any particular point in time. It is also another feature I really like about the personal pension plan is the fact that it is a sustainable path to financial security. One of the things I usually tell anybody that is close to me, I work with a lot of young people, and I always tell them that one of your major goals in life is to achieve financial independence. And I say to you today that if you are going to achieve financial independence, one of the habits you need to imbibe is the saving habit. Somebody once said something that if you cannot save, the secret of greatness is not in you. And I like the way Albert Einstein put it. He said that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. What that means is that interest upon interest is going to help you to achieve your financial goal faster. And how does that apply to you, especially to young people that are on this call? The earlier you start, the better for you. And the beautiful thing about the plan is that even if you are still a minor, you are staying with your parents, you can start the personal pension plan and you can begin to plan for the future. Parents on this call, this is a veritable platform for you to plan your children's future. Do not wait for them to start working before you start planning for them. Imagine saving 1,000 naira for a child on a monthly basis, maybe a new child, and you save for the next 18 years when that child will be able to have access to that account. The compound interest on it will be significant, and the benefits of that exercise will be tremendous. Another feature of it is the professional fund management. The funds will be managed by experts who have expertise in fund management, which would have been difficult for you to get if you were a retail investor. But because of the benefit of the scheme being a fund, if you participate, you would also get the benefits that high net worth individuals get through portfolio management. Another feature that I must mention to you is the fact that the personal pension plan has an emergency access. We do know, the industry knows that life happens sometimes. We know that sometimes people make plans for the future, but life also happens before the future happens. And so what the law, what the regulation has done is that there is a window for you to access part of each of the contribution that you make into the personal pension plan. In the subsequent slides, I will show you how to access it and the benefit of accessing it. And lastly, one feature that is also very important is the fact that this has the seal of approval of PENCOM. PENCOM is one of the most proactive regulators in Nigeria today, and the industry is well regulated. What that means is that your funds that you put in your personal pension plan is secured and is not going to be tampered with. Contributions under the personal pension plan. Each contribution you make into the personal pension plan is split into two. You will recall that I mentioned the other time that you can make any amount of contribution you want to make per time. Contribution is flexible. You can contribute anytime you want to contribute, and you can contribute any amount that you want to contribute anytime you like. But this contribution is split into contingent portion and 50% retirement portion. Remember what I told you about access when life happens. If there's an emergency after you have contributed into your personal pension plan, there is a window for you to collect 50% of that contribution in order for you to meet that emergency. You know that I have told you the other time that this is a retirement plan, and so it is not just a savings plan. And so because of that, we would only allow you 50% of your fund for emergency. The other 50% goes into your retirement portion, because this is the whole essence of the personal pension plan. The reason why the scheme was set up is so that people who have worked can maintain a reasonable standard of living at retirement. And so we are going to ensure that 50% of your funds remain locked in until retirement. I would also speak to you about the way we define retirement under the personal pension plan. contributions must be made through bank accounts and approved channels. What is the need for you as a contributor? In other words, it means, why should I contribute in the personal pension plan, or why should I participate in this scheme? One of the benefits is that it is a path to faster financial security. Like I told you earlier on, one of your goals as an individual is to achieve financial independence. I always like to tell people that your dignity cannot be preserved without financial independence. You don't want to live off people. Parents, the time of living off children has passed. A lot of things are happening in our environment, and we find out that even in some cases, the children that people want to leverage at retirement, they are also trying to find their feet. And so children are not your retirement plan. But I mean, that does not mean that you should not take care of your parent, but every parent must also ensure that they take this very, very seriously. Another benefit of this personal pension plan is tax efficiency. Pension contributions are tax exempt. And what that means, especially for people who are working, is that the taxes you pay are only deducted after the contributions have been made into your personal pension plan. What it means is that if you contribute to the personal pension plan, the taxes that you'll be liable to pay will be reduced. I mentioned the other time that the personal pension plan is a flexible contribution. It allows you to contribute any amount you want to do at the time that you want to do it. Another point is that, which is also related to the point on tax efficiency, is that there's a potential higher investment returns that you stand to benefit from the personal pension plan. And why is this so? It is because what we invest in, unlike other instruments, like if you invest in maybe a mutual fund, those mutual funds will pay taxes on the income end. But for this scheme that we are talking about, for the personal pension plan, you do not pay taxes on pension assets because they are tax exempt. Also, may I also say that existing contributors do not need to get a new PIN, as they are already part of the scheme. What you just need to do is to fund. You do not need to open a new RSA account. So I'll put this slide for the benefit of people who are probably familiar with voluntary contributions. Before now, in addition to the compulsory contributions that people were making, that people in private and public sectors were making, one of the features of that CPS was the voluntary contribution scheme. And what PENCOM has done now is to compress the voluntary contribution under the personal pension plan. And so if you were doing voluntary contribution before, what your voluntary contribution will be called going forward is the personal pension plan. The PPP fund structure. The PPP funds are invested under the multi-fund structure. We have two funds. The first one is the Fund 5 Conservative Fund, and which is the default fund for the personal pension plan. We also, which is another feature, is that it is low risk and it is less volatile in terms of returns. But the other fund is the Fund 5 Growth Fund, which clients must elect. I would advise that this particular fund, the growth fund, is especially for young people who have a long time to retirement. I mean, if you are 5 years, if you are 10 years, if you are 15 years, if you are 20, even if you are 25 or maybe 30, I would recommend the growth fund for you, because it has a potential of generating higher returns over the long time, even though in terms of risk, the risk is a bit higher than the conservative fund. But it is for people who are young and who have a greater risk appetite. So what are the withdrawal rules? You would recall that I had mentioned to you the other time that the scheme has built in place a system for emergency access. We know that sometimes when you set up a goal for yourself to achieve financial independence or to achieve a particular amount before retirement, we know that sometimes life happens and you may need to access it before retirement. And so that is the portion that we call the contingent contribution. And the rule says that you can only access it only after 3 months of the initial contribution. And then in terms of frequency, you can access it once in 2 months. I will take it again. You can only access it only after 3 months of your initial contribution. What that means is that if you start contributing today, like I know many of you will start today, if you start in May, by August, you'll be able to access your funds. Also, you can only withdraw once in 2 months. You recall that I said that it is not a savings account, it is a retirement account, and it is geared towards ensuring that you retire well and you retire rich. At retirement, I also love this portion or this part very, very well. The part I like about it is that when you retire, you can decide to collect all your funds upon the attainment of the age of 50 years. You can say, give me all my money. I want all my money. You can decide to use that fund the way you like. And you can also decide to do what we call the program withdrawal. That program withdrawal is that you sign up for a pension payment on a monthly basis or on a quarterly basis. That way, for the rest of your life, you'll be getting paid pensions like people, like the other people that have already started contributing it. And the beautiful thing about this arrangement is that under the PPP, if you decide after being on program withdrawal, you can still say that I don't want to do program withdrawal again. Anytime you come around, you can decide to say I want to collect the entire balance that I have. But I always advise people that it is best, except you are certain that you are able to invest it in something that will be more sustainable than the arrangement that we have. Also, if you look at some of the benefits that the pension industry has, it is advisable for you to keep it. I will mention one of it to you very quickly. Right now, as we speak, one of the benefits of being a retiree in the pension industry is that PenCom has launched an insurance scheme which is about to take off for retirees. So, which will not be funded by them. If you are a retiree, you are going to have access to medical insurance, which will be funded by the pension industry. How to register for the personal pension plan? There are two ways of registering for the personal pension plan. I've listed those approaches. One is by going to our website on access-armpensions.com and the Awaba platform. Awaba is our partner, and you can also use their platform to sign up. I want to go to our website to show you how to do the onboarding. This is our landing page. You come to open an RSA account. On the open an RSA account, after filling out these details, you will be directed on how to proceed. You will see the personal pension plan and you will proceed from there to open that particular account. And you can also use the Awaba platform that I mentioned. If you Google our website, you can easily do that. Let me also use this opportunity to reiterate again that existing clients do not need to create a new RSA PIN. If you have a CPS account or you have a micro pension account, you do not need to create a new account. How to fund a personal pension plan? There are two ways you can fund. There are two ways you can fund a personal pension plan. Please hold on a second. Sorry for the break in transmission. So, how to fund a personal pension plan? We have payment platforms that we can use to fund a personal pension plan. We have the PSSP platform. PSSP platforms are service providers licensed by our regulator to collect contributions on our behalf, on PFA's behalf. And so you have the pen pay that you can go to. You can also fund through the Awaba web platform. And this is the URL. I'll drop it on the link in case any of us wants to access it. At this point, I will pause for questions and comments. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ireti. Please let us give a round of applause to our facilitator. That has been very insightful. My notes are full. I just kept on writing and writing and writing. I've certainly learned a lot, and I'm sure that everyone here has as well. Thank you so very much, sir. We appreciate you. If anyone has any questions, kindly type them in the chat, or if you'd like to speak, you can raise your hand and we'll give you access to speak. But for now, please type your questions in the chat. I'll give about 2 minutes to see if we have any questions, or I'll proceed with some of the ones that I have shared. Okay, so we have Messi. I'm so sorry if I don't say your name correctly. Messi Elo Bose has raised a hand. I believe that Messi Elo Bose has a question or has raised their hand. So, all right, you have access to speak now. So kindly ask your question.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you very much, sir. That was a very insightful session. Okay, so you made mention of that, okay, this pension is a bit better than mutual funds and all of that. So I just wanted to ask, in terms of the professional managers, how many percentage interest, if somebody decides to say you opt for the growth, I think, Shad, you said something about the growth part, how many percent? And that's the first question. The second question is this access arm pension, is it the same thing as arm pension? Thank you.
Thank you. So, Angela, should I go ahead and answer those questions? Okay.
Yes,
So
please.
thank you so much for the question. I'll start from the second question. So ARM pensions, which are called arm pensions, we don't call it arm pensions, we call it ARM pensions. And Access Pensions did a business combination in 2024 to form the Access ARM Pensions. So specifically to your question, yes, it's the same organization. If you call us Access, we are Access. If you call us ARM, we are ARM, because we are one big institution that have come together. So the first question, I can provide historical returns to you, but in terms of commitment as to what you will get in terms of a fixed return, I cannot promise that. And nobody can promise you that. Actually, even mutual funds, what they usually show to you is the current return. They can show you the current return and they can show you previous return. So, but I can tell you that in terms of asset allocation, in terms of the opportunities, like I told you, one of the benefits we have as a fund manager, Access ARM Pensions, for instance, manages more than 4.5 trillion in assets. Yes, you heard me, 4.5 trillion in assets. That is a significant size. Let me tell you what that does for us. What it does for us is that if you are speaking to investment houses, we are able to get rates that smaller players cannot get. We are able to get rates that maybe some managers of other money market fund or other mutual funds are not able to get because of our share size. I also mentioned something about tax exemption. The assets we invest in are tax exempt. So it gives you the advantage of not paying taxes on treasury bills investment on any placement with a bank. Today, if you place money with a bank, with your funds, the bank will retain 10% of it, which they pay to government. But pension assets don't pay that. So if you join us, You are not going to be paying that. And what it does to your portfolio is that it helps your portfolio to grow faster than other funds that are getting similar return but that are subject to taxes. I hope I answered your question.
Hey, Mercy, I hope that answered your question. And for anyone else who might have been wondering the same thing, thank you so very much for that. That was actually one of my questions as well about what the interest rates are. And I like how you broke it down for us. Thank you very much. We have another question in the chat. All right. So someone has raised their hand. Ada Okoye. Before you go, let me read the question in the chat. It says, can the RSA be opened as an individual or by the organization someone works with? So can you open it on your own, or does it have to be done by the organization you work with?
You can open it by your own. If your organization has not opened one for you, PPP is a platform for you to open one for yourself and take hold of your financial future. So in case you work with an organization that is currently non-compliant, perhaps because they are small or for whatever reason, even though the law says if you have more than 3 employees, you need to be part of the scheme. But you can, yes, you can open it for yourself. And it's easy. And like I told you, if you already have one, you don't need to open another one. You can always fund that existing one using the platforms I've dropped. I think I've dropped the platform. Angela, I don't know if everybody has access to that or to what I dropped. I don't know if I dropped it.
Okay, I'll share it with the entire group.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Messi is insisting in the comments if you could please share the historical interest rates. I don't know
Okay, so
if
it's on
that is
our
possible.
website. It's on our website. If you go to our website, you will see the 36 months return. Am I still showing my screen?
No, you're not, sir.
Okay, but if you go to our website, you see it, and it's on the website of every PF. It's a requirement we are required by PENCOM, so you find it there. It's a transparent information. You will see what we've done over the years, which can give you an idea of what we can do. But like every portfolio manager will always tell you, past performance is not a guarantee for future performance. So if we did 30% in the past, it doesn't mean that we will do 30% in the future. It might be higher. Do you understand? Because circumstances change.
Yes, certainly. Thank you very much for that answer, sir. We have Ada Okoye's hand up. So let me give you permission to unmute so that, all right, you're muted. Please go ahead, Ada.
All right, thank you so much, Ireti. I wanted to ask regarding you talked about voluntary pension, right? And now that it has been collapsed to PPC, and we know that, I just wanted you to throw more light on that. For voluntary pensions, you can have an agreement with your employer, and then a portion of your salary, you say this is the amount, is paid directly into your pension account, but that is a voluntary pension, which is, I believe, is not taxed or something. But what about PPP now? Is it still the employer that can pay that in, or as an individual? Or I'm also asking, was it merged for the individual to now be handling it, or the company will now just tell you to re-register or something? How did that transition? Maybe you can just throw more light on that. That's
Okay.
my question.
Thank you so much, Ada, for that question. So, I would have asked you another question: that which one do you prefer? Would you like to fund by yourself, or would you like your employer to fund for you? So the two approaches still work, and I will explain to you. And that is one of the beautiful features of the personal pension plan. Like you rightly said, in the past, what you had was a situation whereby if you wanted more money in your retirement pot, in your pension account, you would instruct your organization to say, help me do a voluntary contribution. You will advise them. Usually you send them an email. In some cases, you fill a form to say, help me remit a certain amount, let's say 100,000 naira every month into my retirement savings account. That was called the voluntary contribution because it was not mandatory. The mandatory contribution is 10% by your employer and 8% by you, which is also remitted by your employer. But PENCOM in its wisdom and the industry in its wisdom saw that a lot of people have resources outside their 9 to 5 jobs. People are maybe people have a fashion business gig, or they are selling something and they are making money by the side. And perhaps they don't even want their employer to know that they are making that contribution. They want to do that contribution by themselves. And what this has opened for all of us, the other time I mentioned that this pension plan is for everybody. What it has done is that right now, you can, from the comfort of your room, you can decide that you want to fund your pension contribution based on what I just told you. If you go to that platform, you can transfer that. If not, because we didn't have enough time, I would have done it. I always like to show people how to do the contribution. From your comfort of your room, you can actually make that pension contribution. That means if you got a windfall for young people, your uncle came around or your cousin dashed you money, you can quickly say 10% of what you earn. If you've read the book of there's a book called The Richest Man in Babylon. If you've not read it, I would advise you, please go and read it. It says that a portion of what you earn is yours to keep. And so let's say your uncle or your dad was nice to you and gave you some amount of money. Take a portion of that money and transfer it to your personal pension plan. You know what beautiful thing about it? Unlike your money market fund or your other mutual fund, anytime you need the money, you can go there and say you want to collect your money. This one, yes, you can collect 50% out of it, but 50% is locked till you are 50. There is nothing you can tell us. We won't give you that other 50% until you are 50. Do you understand? Which is a very beautiful thing. Yes, you can contribute, you can continue to contribute to your employer, and in addition to that, you can do your own voluntary contribution anytime you like it, your PPP contribution anytime you like it. You can do it every day, you can do it every month, you can do it once in a year. So I hope that explains it, Ada.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We have one question in the chat, and that will be our final question for today. Bukade Ojo is asking, are there any penalties for defaulting? So if you pay this month and then you skip, maybe for the next 4 months and then you come back, you remember, is there any penalty for that?
Again, that is one of the beauties of the personal pension plan. No penalties. What we might do because we love you and because we want you to retire rich is that you might get a message from us and say, well, we miss you, what happened, you didn't make contribution, but it is not compulsory, there's no penalty, nobody penalizes you. But of course, we want to reward the right behavior, we want to encourage you to do that on a regular basis so that you can achieve your goal. Remember one of the things I told you, one of your goals, and if you listen to me today, you are also under compulsion. You must achieve financial independence. I always like to call myself an ambassador of the personal pension plan, an ambassador of financial independence. I believe that everybody must have it as a goal to retire rich, to retire wealthy.
Thank you so very much, sir. So in closing, right, I would like you to just give us 1 or 2 sentences about something you said during the session, right, which is that parents, because we have a number of parents on the call, do not treat their children as investment plans, right? And we know that in our Nigerian context, that is, there are even prayer points that you will enjoy the fruit of your labor, you will reap. So many parents on this call might be thinking that, what do you have to say to them? How can they, shift that mindset and think about a personal pension plan instead?
Okay, thank you so much. Let me quickly start by saying that as I speak, my mom lives with me. So I take care of my mom. I do not say that people should not take care of their parents. That is not what I'm trying to say. But I'm saying that in addition to taking care of your children, please make sure that you also plan for your financial future. And you don't need a lot of money to do it. You can start small. I mentioned what Albert Einstein told us the other time. He said, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. Start small, start doing it now. Angela, perhaps what I would also like to add is that you should also set up your children for a great financial future. News broke sometimes ago, I won't mention the name, but news broke that there was a man, that there was a governor, a former governor in Nigeria, that paid school fees in advance for his children. You understand? I mean, if you say that the money is not legitimate, yes, you are right. It might not be legitimate. but that person did something for his children. He planned for their financial future. And that is one thing you can do for your children too. This personal pension plan that I've been canvassing for is also for children. You can create it for your children and start saving for them. Some people that are very close to me, their wives were just delivered of babies. And one of the gifts I'm giving them is this personal pension plan. I'm going to open it for them, and I'm going to put an amount there in order to force them to start planning for that children. Imagine if you set up a child from when that child is less than 1 and you start saving consistently for that child. By the time that child is 18 years, or by the time that child is 20 years, the amount of contribution that person will have will be significant. Parents, it's an opportunity for us to plan for our future, and it's also an opportunity for us to imbibe in our children the financial discipline that will ensure that they achieve financial independence. Enough of having piggy bank at home. Don't give them piggy bank. This is their piggy bank. Piggy bank in the sense, this is their retirement plan. Help them to transfer that 1,000. Help them to transfer that 2,000. Don't let them just break it to buy shoes during Christmas. Let them use it to plan for their future.
Wow, thank you so very much, Ireti. I believe that you have made personal pension plans converts out of all of us. If there's anybody here that is still doubting that this is, a very crucial part to your financial security and financial independence, then I don't know how else to convince you, because we've gone through every single aspect. We thank you once again. Thank you so very much. We'd also like to thank Access ARM Pensions for collaborating with us to make this session possible. So everyone who has joined us today, thank you so very much for your time. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for your thoughtful questions. The questions kept coming. I'm sure that if we had another hour, we'll still be able to dive in and get more insights. But we hope that this brief time has provided some useful insights. And not just that, a saying is that you shouldn't just be hearers, but you should also be doers. So we hope that this has also encouraged you to take a more intentional approach to your financial planning journey, particularly towards your future regarding pensions and retirement. So we hope to see you at other future Junior Achievements Nigeria events. Thank you very much for being here. If you want to stay in the loop, please keep up with us on social media. Some of you might have gotten this through email. So thank you for subscribing. If you get any good email, please feel free to forward it to your contacts. Encourage more people to join the community so that they can also get access to wonderful sessions like this. So once again, thank you. My colleague is going to share our social media platforms. We are everywhere. Instagram, YouTube, X, Facebook, LinkedIn. And we are always sharing opportunities, not just in the area of financial freedom and literacy, but across our other pillars as well. So please stay in the loop. And thank you once again for joining us. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening and have a great weekend ahead. Thank you.
Because they have a habit of saving. They all like saving. Any little money, they like saving.
I've currently told my sister what I've learned, that is earn, save, spend, and donate. And now she's now donating to people who are in need. Her clothes that she's no more using money when she has it. And my mommy also tells me I'm a changed person now because she sees that I save more than spending. And I see money as a valuable thing, as something that I must care for.
I actually run a mini mart, a shop, and once she come back home, she asks me this question, Mommy, how much have you made for the day? And by the time we close the shop in a day, we were like, okay, let's keep this money here, let's keep this one, let's save this. There's a particular piggy bank we put in the house where we write school fees, savings for school fees. That was because Chanchin has taught my daughter how to save. It has taught her a lot how to be proactive, planning towards the future. And that has helped me. Ever since the introduction of the Chanchin product in the program in the school, my daughter has not been having issue with payment of her school fees because I have been proactive, paying, putting something down, at times maybe 200 naira, at times maybe 500 naira. And gradually, by the time it's time for me to pay our school fees, I'm able to break the piggy bank and we are able to get something. Even if I will add to the money, it will just be a little thing. So the program has actually helped my daughter, and by extension, it has helped my family.
Churching is very, very different because it goes down to the real life with the children, teaching the children what is absent in regular curriculum, connecting the children to the real world. The children now know the value of money, appreciating their parents for going out there to work, and it has really helped the kids to know that you need to save money for future purposes.
Parents should try to release their children to this financial literacy program because it really helps them. It opens their understanding of how to spend and how to deal with money.
I have recommended the program to some of my colleagues, and because it's a superb program, very unique, you don't see it elsewhere, very, very fantastic, down to earth, connecting to life, changing lives, changing the mindset of the children towards life generally, and economic, and especially financial literacy. Very, very superb.